Never trust family blindly, because sometimes the people who say they love you the most are the same ones planning how to steal from you. Sarah didn't realize it at first. To her, it just felt like normal family pressure. The kind that slowly builds over years until you stop questioning it. The kind that makes you think sacrificing everything is just what you're supposed to do. She was the responsible one. The stable one. The one who had a real job, paid her bills on time, saved money, and didn't cause problems. And because of that, her family treated her like a safety net that would never run out. Her younger sister Maria. Total opposite. Maria quit jobs like people change clothes. One week she was starting fresh, the next week she was too stressed, and then suddenly she needed help again. She dropped out of college halfway through, saying it wasn't for her, even though Sarah had helped pay for tuition. At first, it seemed harmless. Just bad decisions. Just a phase. But then the requests started getting bigger. Can you cover my rent this month? I just need a little help, I'll pay you back. I'm going through something right now, you don't understand. And every time Sarah hesitated, her parents stepped in. Elena would sigh and say, "She's your sister." Roberto would shake his head like Sarah was being selfish. Family helps family. That's what we do. They had a way of making Sarah feel like saying no meant she didn't care. Like love had a price, and she was expected to pay it. So she did. At first, it was small amounts. A few hundred here, 1,000 there. But over time, it grew into something much heavier. Something harder to ignore. Because Maria never paid anything back. Not once. And still, the requests kept coming. What Sarah didn't know, what no one told her, was that Maria wasn't just bad with money. She had a gambling problem. A serious one. It started with online betting. Then casinos. Then high-risk games with people who weren't exactly safe. By the time anyone realized how bad it was, Maria was already deep in it. More than $58,000 in debt. And the people she owed weren't patient. They weren't sending polite reminders. They weren't offering payment plans. They were making threats. Real ones. That's when everything changed. Suddenly, Maria wasn't just asking for money. She was desperate. She would show up unannounced, crying, shaking, saying she was in danger. And once again, Sarah's parents turned to her. "You're the only one who can help her. She could get hurt." What kind of sister just lets that happen? But this time, something felt off. Not just the situation, but the way her parents were acting. They weren't just worried. They were nervous. Watching her too closely. Pushing too hard. Getting irritated when she asked questions. And then came the night everything finally broke. It was supposed to be a normal family dinner. Nothing special. Just Sarah, her parents, and Maria sitting around the table. But there was tension in the air. The kind you can't explain, but you can feel. Maria barely spoke. She kept checking her phone, her hands shaking. Elena kept going into the kitchen and coming back. Roberto avoided eye contact. And then, Sarah's phone buzzed. A message. From Mark. Maria's ex-boyfriend. They hadn't spoken in months. The message was short. "Don't eat or drink anything. I'm outside. Please trust me." Sarah felt her stomach drop. At first, it didn't make sense. Why would he say that? Why now? But something in his tone, something urgent, made her pause. She looked up. Her mom was placing a glass of juice in front of her. "Drink, you look tired," Elena said, smiling too quickly. That's when it clicked. Not fully, but enough. Enough to know something was very, very wrong. Sarah didn't react right away. She didn't accuse anyone. Didn't panic. Didn't let it show. Instead, she smiled slightly, picked up the glass, and pretended to take a sip. But she didn't swallow. She let the liquid touch her lips, then set the glass down casually. A few minutes later, she excused herself to the bathroom. That's when she texted Mark back. "What's going on?" His reply came instantly. "They're planning to drug you. Maria told someone. I overheard everything before I left. They need access to your phone." Sarah just stared at the screen. Her hands felt cold. Drug her. Her own family. It sounded insane. But at the same time, it explained everything. The tension. The behavior. The way they were watching her. And suddenly, every moment from the past few years started to look different. This wasn't just pressure anymore. This was manipulation. And now, it had crossed a line she couldn't ignore. Sarah took a deep breath. She had two choices. Run. Or stay, and find out the truth. She chose to stay. But not as a victim. When she walked back into the dining room, she moved slower. A little unsteady. She let her eyes look heavy. Let her voice soften. "I think I'm more tired than I thought," she said. Her parents exchanged a quick glance. Maria looked relieved. That hurt more than anything. Sarah sat down and leaned her head slightly, pretending the effects were kicking in. And while they thought she was fading, she was doing something else. Recording. Her phone, placed casually on the table, was capturing everything. At first, no one said anything. They just watched her. Waited. But as time passed, they started to relax. Because in their minds, it was working. Roberto spoke first. "Is she out?" "Almost," Elena replied quietly. Maria's voice came next. "I hate this, but we don't have a choice." Sarah felt something crack inside her. Not anger. Not yet. Just disbelief. Her own sister. Saying that like it was normal. Like drugging her was just another bad decision. Like borrowing money, again. Roberto sighed. "We just need the phone. Once we transfer the money, it's done." Elena added, "She'll understand eventually. This is for Maria." That sentence stayed with Sarah. This is for Maria. As if that justified everything. As if hurting one child to save another was acceptable. As if Sarah wasn't even a person in this moment. Just a resource. Maria spoke again, her voice shaking. "They said if I don't pay by tomorrow, they'll come here." Silence filled the room. And then Roberto said something that made everything crystal clear. "We're doing the right thing." That was it. That was the moment. The line that changed everything. Because it showed Sarah exactly who they were. Not scared parents making a mistake. Not a desperate sister who lost control. But people who had convinced themselves that betrayal was okay, as long as it served their purpose. Sarah waited a few more minutes. Let them say more. Let them fully expose themselves. And then, slowly, she sat up. "I'm not asleep." The silence that followed was immediate. Heavy. Uncomfortable. No one moved. No one spoke. They just stared at her. Elena looked like she had seen a ghost. Roberto's face went pale. Maria started shaking. Sarah picked up her phone. "I recorded everything." Her voice was calm. Too calm. And that scared them more than anything. "You drugged me," she continued. "Or at least, you tried to." No, Elena started, but couldn't finish. "You planned to steal from me," Sarah said, cutting her off. Roberto stepped forward. "We were trying to protect your sister." "No," Sarah snapped. "You were trying to use me." That hit harder. Because it was true. And they knew it. Maria started crying. "I didn't want this." "But you went along with it," Sarah replied. No yelling. No drama. Just facts. And that made it worse. Because there was no escaping it. Sarah looked at all of them. Really looked. And for the first time, she didn't see family. She saw people who had taken advantage of her for years, and finally went too far. "I'm done," she said. But she didn't stop there. Because being done wasn't enough. Not after this. "You're going to fix this," she continued. "All of it." They didn't understand at first. But then she explained. Maria would turn herself in. She would cooperate with authorities. She would give them everything, names, contacts, details about the gambling operation. No more hiding. No more excuses. And their parents. Therapy. Financial counseling. Real consequences. Because this didn't just happen overnight. This was years of enabling. Years of manipulation. Years of emotional pressure that led to this moment. At first, they resisted. Of course they did. But Sarah had something they didn't expect. Proof. Clear, undeniable proof of what they tried to do. And she made it very clear, if they didn't cooperate, she would go to the police herself. So they agreed. Not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. The aftermath wasn't quick or easy. Maria turned herself in. And for the first time, she had to face the reality of what she had done, not just to herself, but to everyone around her. Her cooperation helped authorities take down the people she owed money to. It wasn't instant. It wasn't clean. But it was a start. Their parents started therapy. At first, they tried to justify their actions. Tried to explain it away as desperation. But over time, even they had to admit the truth. They didn't just fail Maria. They failed Sarah too. Maybe even more. Because they taught her that her worth was tied to what she could give. That love meant sacrifice, no matter the cost. And Sarah. She walked away. Not dramatically. Not angrily. Just, completely. She moved to a different city. Changed her number. Created distance in every possible way. Because sometimes, the only way to protect yourself is to remove yourself completely. She started over. New place. New routine. New life. And eventually, she started writing. Not about revenge. Not about anger. But about boundaries. About the things no one teaches you growing up. How to say no. How to recognize manipulation. How to understand that love without respect isn't love at all. Her blog started small. Just a few posts. Then more people found it. People who had gone through similar things. People who thought they were alone. And slowly, it grew. Because her story wasn't unique. That was the hardest part to accept. There are so many people out there who are treated like Sarah. Who are told that being the responsible one means carrying everyone else. Who are made to feel guilty for wanting basic respect. But Sarah learned something most people don't learn until it's too late. Family doesn't get a free pass to hurt you. Love doesn't mean unlimited access. And helping someone doesn't mean destroying yourself in the process. In the end, she didn't just escape a bad situation. She rebuilt her entire understanding of what love is supposed to look like. It's not pressure. It's not guilt. It's not sacrifice without limits. It's respect. It's honesty. It's boundaries. And if those things aren't there, then it's not love. It just looks like it. Watch the next video to see how to spot manipulation before it goes this far.